Welcome back to the program. Well, the words 4 more years coupled with a photo of Barack and Michelle Obama embraced in a hug has become the most retweeted Twitter post ever. The U.S. president tweeted the message just after he clinched re-election and has since been retweeted, that is, over 500,000 times. It's impressive.
Do you think he actually pushed the tweet button? Do you think someone did it for him?
Twitter doesn't let you do that anymore, which I found out when I tried to retweet my. No, I'm kidding. They don't let you do that anymore. You have to. It only counts. They're kind of the official retweet.
Do you think he didn't actually push
tweet it in the first place?
Yeah.
Well, no, they probably have a team of people doing this.
Yeah.
Carefully picking the right picture.
So to say that he tweeted is not factually correct, is it? I suppose is what we're saying.
Thank you for catching that. Joining us now is Norm Johnston. He's global digital leader at Mindshare Worldwide. And Norm, you're here basically to talk about just how, as we were discussing, how candidates use social media. And do you think the way in which Obama used it helped his re-election? Because it would seem to be a bit of a stretch to suggest that with all the other factors at play, that this might have tipped it in his favor.
Well, Ross, first of all, I think it was his kids that tweeted it. That's the trick that I use. But I think it certainly helped. I mean, if you look at the power of word of mouth and advocacy, particularly for those that are undecided, that haven't decided which way they want to vote, social is an incredibly powerful tool. And I think if you just look at the numbers in terms of the fan bases and the followers of Twitter, Obama had double the number that Romney had on Facebook. 12 million followers on Twitter. Romney only had 2 million followers on Twitter. And then his ability to really activate those people to get the message out.
Well, I was going to come on to that. How much of the fact that he won 60% of the 18 to 24-year-olds, how much of that actually comes down to the fact that maybe he's doing better on social media sites where that demographic is clearly going to be big?
Well, if you look at that demographic, I mean, they spend a significant amount of time within social networks. I mean, this is where they communicate with each other, it's where they communicate with brands, it's where they communicate with politicians. So it's absolutely critical, I think, to have a social strategy in place to really activate that particular audience to get the message out there. When you look at that group, for example, 20% of them recommended a politician, a presidential candidate, to their friends. Now, if you have 130 friends within your social graph, that's quite a few people that you're getting to, and I suspect some of those are undecided voters.
Now, what's interesting is that the reports suggest the Republicans actually use a lot of digital media to follow. But is that all they're doing? They're following, they're not necessarily engaging with recommendations?
Well, that's the interesting thing that we found out about our research is that Republicans tend to use social networks more so than Democrats.
Right.
And I think it points to a failure within the Romney campaign to really activate those people and get them engaged as advocates for the Romney campaign, which is either indicative of Romney the candidate or their inability tactically to use social networks to get the word out.
Because I would imagine that the real differentiating point here is more of the natural support base, so the youth demographic for Obama being more inclined to be on social media. But if you're suggesting that the GOP's base is actually the more active one, then perhaps it's not strictly demographics.
Well, no, I think I think if you look at it, it's not strictly demographics. I think that is true. But if you look at just the Obama campaign overall, the approach they took to digital, they spent twice as much money on digital marketing as the Romney campaign. There's a 250% increase in digital spend online compared to the 2008 campaign.
So social media advertising, this is important not just for campaigns, but for companies. What you're saying is social media advertising pays off.
Well, I think
shockingly,
if you
as an advertising company.
No, I mean, I think if you sort of look at what Obama's done, and again, back in 2008, he was used as an example to many different companies how to really approach digital marketing. And I think if you just look at the numbers, the scale of that is even bigger than it was before in 2008. If you look at election eve, just last Tuesday, 2008, 1.8 million tweets. There were over 30 million tweets alone on Tuesday night.
Would Romney have done better if you managing his marketing campaign to have spent less on TV advertising and more time with digital marketing?
Well, I think there is you can see the shift from TV, but I think it's about getting the two to work together because the data that we have indicates that people are actually watching more TV than ever before.
Right.
So particularly for presidential campaigns, news, TV news, online news is really critical to influencing people. So it seems to point to a failure in their tactics, their ability to get those things to work together, to get people from TV to online. And I think if you look at Romney, the unfortunate situation there for him was that social amplified his mistakes.
Right.
So if you look at the biggest day that he had on Twitter, the biggest day of mentions that Romney had was the day the 47% video was released online, which was then followed by Women Full of Binders and Big Bird. So it seems to be, it was accentuating and amplifying his mistakes rather than being used to really get positive word of mouth out there.
Well, and it suggests that it's going to play a huge role in 2016, given what people will have learned from 2012.
Well, I think there'll be a lot of lessons and learning coming out of the Republican camp, and I think one of those will be they have to pay much more attention to social marketing.
Norm Johnston, Global Digital Leader for Mindshare Worldwide, thank you for coming by.
Thank you very much.